everybody, it's Alexia from amysticspath. For those of you that don't know me, I just kind of wanted to hop on this morning and share a message that came through to me that I felt greatly pulled to share with you guys. I was literally in the shower and I haven't done any of my ritual or anything like that yet this morning, and I felt very pulled to share this message with you guys before I even did anything. It was like, no, just go upstairs and record. So here I am doing just that. So if you see me fiddling around with my crystals or cards, it's to kind of just help connect me to spirit and to kind of ground me as well. But the message that I received was speaking of how people with anxiety and pstd and have different responses that kind of trigger when our situations change. All right, this message is for you guys, whether you feel like you have pstd, or if you feel like you have anxiety, or if you feel like your mental state is kind of unbalanced and you're kind of like you can be shifted easily, then this message is for you. And that is speaking of how when things are starting to go better for people that have issues with mental illness and irrationality, okay, or irrational fear. When things start to change, whether they're good or bad, sometimes our brains can trigger this irrational fear and almost paranoid response that something bad is going to happen because things are changing, and our brain is like, this is too good to be true, and it's looking for, and that's kind of like the base of it, right? The base of it, or like not the base, but the surface level of it, is that our brain is feeling like things are too good to be true, and then it's like looking for something. But the actual root of it is that our brains are used to, no matter how long it's been, used to or fearful of this trauma response, or trauma that has happened, and it is a trauma response of this trauma that has happened, and we begin to get into a space that is in fight or flight and looking for any hazards that may be out there. And this is only solely because something is changing, and in our mental, like our mental is shifting, because it's our atmosphere is shifting, our subconscious has to shift too. So there may be red flags that come up, and it's important that we understand why it is that our brains are doing this. And I think that this is why Spirit wanted me to come on here and talk to you guys, because a big part of my journey has been reprogramming, and still is reprogramming and repairing my mental health from my childhood and adolescence and really early adulthood. I'm obviously really young. I'm only 28, but there's a lot of work I've been doing since about 22. So that's a few years. But I wanted to kind of come on and felt very pulled, because I feel like I definitely want to help the people that struggle the same way that I have. So knowing that these things are only popping up as red flags because of the fact that our brain is looking for something to go wrong. And if there's something else that's going wrong in our atmosphere, there might be some tension or some chaos. We can easily, or we can see some outer tension and chaos. This can also strike fear that something bad is going to happen. And we have to be very careful about how our brains can kind of slip into irrational fear, because we don't want to subconsciously be dwelling on that fear and pulling that in, because we have to remember that we can manifest what it is that we are fearful of, just like it is what it is that we are hopeful of. So it's to focus, like we need to shift our focus on what could potentially go wrong, because we're getting this red flag feeling, and more so centering ourselves and focusing on what it is that's in front of us, and focusing on the now, and not focusing on irrational fear-based responses that we're used to because of the trauma that we're in. We need to shift our focus. And it's not just saying to shift our focus onto something positive. We sometimes have to reason with ourselves and find a basis within rationality. And that's something that a lot of people miss when they're trying to help somebody get footing in a new place mentally is to find common ground within yourself, to find rationality so your brain isn't going off on a tangent. It's not always enough for someone else to kind of try to talk common sense into you, right? Because they're not feeling your responses, they're not feeling your feelings, they don't necessarily know why your brain's working in the way that you do. And you may not even understand fully. You may have more work to do to figure out why your brain works the way it does based on trauma responses, which is very important to be able to start to heal and recondition or reprogram the brain. But like trying your hardest to find that common ground, to find rationality within yourself, to be able to calm down your nervous system. Because if you're trying to suppress it and saying that I'm just like crazy, or my anxiety's up, or like saying that you're having a like a spike in your anxiety or your pstd, yes you are, but what is the reason for that? Because it's all in your psychological brain, right? It's all in your subconscious, and there's a spike because there's a change and there's a shift. Paying attention to that and knowing that, okay, I'm feeling like this because this fear is coming from this place. There's self-awareness here. Okay, so this fear is coming from this place, and then going down and talking to yourself and rationalizing the fear, because the fear is irrational. And sometimes not everybody else can do that for you. They may be helpful, but being able to find that common line of rationality within yourself by knowing where it is that your triggers are coming from. Okay? Because it's so much easier than just saying, okay, I'm being irrational because of my past trauma, but what is the root of the situation of that trauma, to be able to actually rationalize yourself in the situation, because it's stemming from one point, okay? And a lot of us have, especially with childhood trauma or trauma in any like serious trauma in any serious like part of your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be childhood trauma. This is just where I come from. We have different reactions from different things, and if it's been complex situations and situation after situation after situation, then different things can stem from different situations. So although it is hard to go back and do that shadow work, and to go back and do the work and understand yourself and understand where you're coming from, and it may be hard, it's necessary to be able to reprogram your brain and to unlearn those things. And by unlearning those things, you have to meet back with them and rationalize in the here and now, so you're not bringing that with you. And that's all a part of reprogramming your brain. And I'm feeling very, very, very pulled, probably because we're getting into Mercury retrograde. I'm feeling very pulled to talk back onto the journey of mental illness and reprogramming the brain. So there's probably going to be more of this to come, you guys, more messages, more downloads on helpful tips, because I feel like I was focusing so much on just doing my work and sharing messages that would help you guys and help you guys like that, like from readings and stuff, channeling from like more direct messages to you, that I was neglecting the fact that a lot of people struggle with manifestation and struggle with not sabotaging their blessings because they don't believe them when they come in because of past trauma. That rewiring your brain is more complex than the like bubbly, pretty version that you mostly see on Instagram and YouTube. And I'm not, saying anything other than you get more depth when you've been through it yourself. So I feel like Spirit is pushing me to be more open with you guys about this and how it is that I've overcome what it is that I've overcome so far. So I guess this is, a new space to add into my judgment-free zone, especially on my Instagram. But this video is going up on my YouTube too, about reworking and retraining in a safe space for mental health as well. Is probably going to get a spot on my Instagram page for sure. But thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope that the people that need to find this information and find this message find it, and that everybody has a great day.